Welcome back. The powers that be at the state capitol in Austin have laid down a mandate. Texas school districts must welcome back to campus at least some of their students no later than 8 weeks into the fall term. Panel, is this a reasonable request or a recipe, as some suggest, for deepening the COVID disaster? Raj, I want to start with you.
I think as a former teacher, I think we know that every teacher and every principal wants students to learn, period, full stop. And we know that the remote learning has not been as sort of effective as in-person learning. But having said that, I think there's a real risk of reopening too quickly, both to the students themselves, taking it home, to the teachers, the support staff. And again, the example of this is look at Israel, that reopened a little bit early their schools and the cases have skyrocketed. And so while there might be places around the state that are ready in 8 weeks to reopen, having a blanket statewide policy to me does not make sense. Instead, we should allow local leaders to make decisions regarding students to protect their safety and those of the teachers and other educational personnel.
Carmen Rowe, how about some of your clear-eyed pragmatism on this?
Well, I think to what Raj is saying, that's why Governor Abbott has kind of punted, and a lot of people have criticized him, to the local areas to make decisions about their relatively different school system. And let me say this about that. This is a very difficult decision for parents, for teachers, for everyone. And I teach at U of H Law. I don't have children, but believe me, I can't make a decision or figure out who makes the best decision when everything changes daily. So I think starting virtually, even if for a short period like 8 weeks, is smart, but you have to keep in mind that there's lower economic students that are going to be missed in that gap because they don't have virtual capabilities, et cetera. So this one size fits all will not work for everyone. It won't work for every jurisdiction. And just last week, we saw Edna, Texas, population 5,000, open their school to have their students there. So we're gonna watch and we're gonna learn, and day for day make better decisions that keep everyone safe.
Wayne, if Huberty is right, the districts are going to have plenty of flexibility here to bring back as few or as many as they want. Do you think that's the right way to go?
So here's the problem. First of all, this fake nonsense that we're worrying about the kids and their safety, can we just stop that? Because look, you're going to find a kid here or there that might get sick, but the kids aren't really in danger, right? It's the teachers don't want to do it. I have a cousin who's a nurse in Staten Island who wrote this blistering thing on Facebook about how the nurses and the cops and the garbage workers and everybody else is working, but the teachers don't want to do it. But let people choose, right? The school should be open up. The parents that want to send their kids to school because this is America should go. The ones that don't, do it virtual. If you want to jeopardize your children's future and you're going to make that calculation that one's better than the other, God bless you. But the school should be open. People should be teaching. I want my daughter to get back to U of H. My son should be going to law school in person. This just needs to stop. This is not going away, folks.
Okay, Tamara Bell. Bob Sanborn says the collateral damage here for K through 3 could be huge if those kids lose a grade level because distance learning just isn't working. What's your take on this?
Listen, I think that there is definitely an opportunity that they can do some in-class learning. For most schools, they have sections for kindergarten through 5th grade. If you take a day, that's 5, take a day, take a week, kindergarten's going this day, 1st grade's going this day, 2nd grade going this day, 3rd, you can spread those children out and get it done because the fundamental years are the most critical years. But let me be clear, if you're in a home where you don't have Wi-Fi, if you're in 6th, 7th, and 8th, I don't care if you're in 9th grade, this is hard to catch up. Right. And for the formation, this is why school goes to 12th grades. These are your formative years. What you get in that group surrounding, you can't buy that, okay? So there has to be a solution so that we can do something back in person.
Okay, Charles, close us out here. What's your take?
Yeah, so I don't understand. I mean, Wayne saying, and I kind of agree with him, but don't want to agree with him too much about this isn't about the kids, but the idea that we're going to stop the kids from getting this or stop them from spreading that is just not going to happen. Once they go back, if one student in one classroom has it, it's going to happen whether it's
Right.
in January or whether it's in September. So I don't understand that. And then you have these issues where in New York, there were teachers who were saying that they didn't want to do the virtual because they didn't want to have to show their apartments. And then in LA, they were saying they didn't want to go into the classrooms and teach virtually to the students who are out there because they just didn't want to be in the classrooms either. So I'm starting to get a sense that they just don't want to do it. And so I don't see why we can't have, 8th through 12th graders do virtual where they can actually learn online, because I don't think a second or third grader can, but then use those extra classes